Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of the black community and their opinions on everything, what's going on with the boycotting derby, guys?
Yeah, so apparently there is a movement in our city where we're from. If you're not from Louisville and you're listening to this, thanks for listening. But there is a
Thanks for
movement in
listening.
our city, in Louisville, and it is a movement to boycott the Kentucky Derby. So, a lot of people are for it, a lot of people are against it, and yeah.
Derby is one of the biggest profiting things that this city has to bring in and offer. We have celebrities as Ludacris, Michael Jordan, and others have came and flown across and have even bought houses here just to stay here for the weekend, just to watch the horses race and things like that. So because we are the majority of the ticket holders outside of the booths being sold out by the celebrities and stuff, we control most of the profit there. So everybody is upset because of
Yeah, so for context, one part that I left out, the reason that the Kentucky Derby is being boycotted is because of the injustices that are going on in our city. I'm sure you've heard about them. Breonna Taylor's killers have still not been arrested yet. So the idea is to boycott the Kentucky Derby as a response for Breonna Taylor's murderers not being arrested yet.
and because she is from here, we feel that making our opinions and voices being heard and not getting things swept under the rug, we would hit them where it hurts the most, which is their pockets. So obviously, that's just one plan of action, and it doesn't. When you first hear it, doesn't sound like a terrible idea. Actually, that's very makes people that are in power to make decisions on bringing the killers to justice, make them have to act upon that a little bit more quickly. So I can understand why that would be a choice. Of course, and we're around Derby time anyway, and it happens every year. So
My feelings on that is very ambivalent because, like, I can definitely see the reasons why we want to do something such as boycotting the Derby, making sure more attention is still coming for Breonna Taylor, I think it is.
Breonna Taylor.
Breonna Taylor. But the reason why it's mixed is because of the fact that, like, you're also kind of hurting our own city at the same time doing that. Because Derby and Thunder and all that, that's Louisville's moneymaker right there. We're making a lot of money just because of Derby and all that. So you're kind of having us, getting damaged at the same time as you wanting to boycott this. I can understand you wanted the attention to go towards the movement. And I can agree that we want to have more attention on that. But at the same time, don't do it at the extent where you're just going to be hurting yourself in the long run as well. Because we still want our city to grow and strive. Doing something like that can cause our city to be at a halt.
Well, it's
And
about
here's
what
my-
you're willing to sacrifice. I'm sorry, I'll let you go. But it's about what you're willing to sacrifice. And we've had many conversations about give and take on this podcast. And this is just another situation where we want to get hindsight of things, or we want to make sure that is the sacrifice worth the justice for long term of not just her, but just hopefully not, but future situations or possibilities like that. So go ahead, Aaron.
Here's my thing, right? I'm a person who believes in attacking like things head on directly versus trying to, use other outside sources of attack, I guess, for lack of better word, right? So I feel like just those two things, they really don't have anything to do with the other. I mean, I get it, no justice, no peace, no celebration until, justice is served. I get that. Right, but I just feel like that's not going to make a change, like a distinct change. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want, we got to focus on the legislation itself and like trying to hit these people in the pockets who don't really care about the situation anyway. That's not going to make them change their minds. Well, not only that, but also we're in a space where we're still dealing with COVID and Corona and all that stuff. So we don't even know if the Derby is they're not even selling tickets to the Derby yet. You know what I'm saying? Correct. So we don't even really know. Like, I get the idea, right? And it's an emotional response to try to garner like support and try to keep the movement going. I mean, I understand that. I'm all for that, right? I just feel like that there is a better approach than this because, like Anthony said, I mean, there are plenty of black business owners and just plenty of like black people in general. We need something positive and happy to focus on for once. You know what I'm saying? So to try to take away something that we can all generally kind of enjoy, I mean, I just don't see the true benefit in that,
Well, it's a bunch of different ways to look at it like that. And I'm not going to even, in a sense, fully disagree with you on that. But I will say that you have to look at a process and a step plan. So you would say, to get these people's attention, what is the first and most thing they care about the most? It would be their pockets.
It's obviously money, but
you would have to go to a scale of things of how I'm envisioning it right now. Like if it was on a board, I would just be breaking it down. So if I can't get to the pockets, then what would be the next best thing? And then by doing so, in hindsight, by hitting their pockets, well, now they have no choice but to listen to us because they want to keep money flowing. You know, that old saying of keep the rich rich and the poor poor and all that old process and stuff like that. Well, if the rich aren't staying as rich as they're supposed to be, or they're not, if they're starting to subtract, then they're going to want to at least, all right, we'll go ahead and take, even if that doesn't help it long term, we'll take care of this or whatever so we can get back to, you know, whatever, that big jump or whatever the case is. Because if they truly just care about their pockets and we hit them there, they'll attend to this situation even if it's just for a short term thing. And then they'll feel like, all right, we did this for y'all. Go ahead and start, you know, whatever, and then they'll boost ticket sales up and all the other stuff.
Okay,
So it depends on how you want to look at it.
let's not assume that this boycott was not strategically, planned and well thought out. So I think that it was, and I think that like the idea is probably like, this is what I think. This may not be right or whatever. But okay, so you want to hit him where it hurts. Okay. By the way, disclaimer, I have a strong distaste for capitalism, so yeah. But anyways, so you want to hit them where it hurts. So then, okay, yes, Louisville is generating all this revenue from Derby. Okay, where's this money going to go? Back into the police department. Come on now. They want to defund the police. So, and they want to put in defunding the police. It doesn't mean, getting rid of them and less jobs for them and so forth. But what it means is you want to invest into community organizations that can help, filter out all of these issues that are happening within the community. That way you can cut out that middleman or whatever you want to call it. But anyways, I think that it's a good idea. I think that it could work. Aside from COVID, I don't know what that's going to happen or whatever. But I don't think that it's a terrible idea. I think that even if you go into legislation and try to fix it there, people aren't going to hear you. Because at the end of the day, the big guys in the back or whatever, they have all the say. And they're controlling it, and it's all leads back to money. So I think it was well thought out, and I think that it may help if we get enough traction. So I don't know.
I don't want to make it seem like that I feel like it's a terrible idea. I mean, I'm not. Any individual who can come up with an idea and put that idea into action and garner support for that idea, I salute that, right? Like I said, I just don't feel like it's just the best offensive approach. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I said.
No, I'm not trying to. No, it's not that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What do you define?
Well, I said I came off a little aggressive. Like, what do you have?
No,
what do you mean?
I'm asking you. Define what do you mean by what do I have?
Well,
in regards
you
to
said
what?
you don't feel it's the best approach.
What's another resolution?
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
And that's my whole thing. I don't have a specific resolution. My thing is, I mean, I still think we should just go the legislative route. I mean, that's what Martin Luther King did. I mean, he got to a point where he could talk to the people who were in charge and try to make them understand and make a change. You know what I'm saying?
But she just broke that down for you.
No, I didn't.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about why not to go to legislative. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So the thing is, okay, so also I am wanting to be a civil rights attorney eventually. So yeah. So my thing is, yes, I just did a paper on this. Yes, Martin Luther King did go. The NAACP and the Legal Defense Fund has done tremendous work as far as, civil rights laws and so forth. However, a lot of these laws fall short from what they're really supposed to do.
Absolutely.
Take affirmative action for one. It isn't really benefiting who it was meant to be benefiting. So that's, a whole nother conversation itself. However, legislation always doesn't get you anywhere. So sometimes you do have to go somewhere else and find another avenue to, shake some things up.
My thing is, and I don't want to be negative about it, but say we do boycott the Kentucky Derby and the people participate, right? And nothing changes. You know what I'm saying? So then what? So now nothing has changed, and also there are plenty of people who would have benefited from having a Derby celebration, or people who are struggling or hurting now that would have made a profit and tried to make their 2020 a little better. We're also hurting other individuals, but we're still not affecting the people that don't really care about Breonna Taylor anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I get it. Like, I'm not mad at the idea, but just it's almost more self-detrimental, especially if it doesn't work. That's my thing. And I'm not saying, and it sucks. I mean, we live in America. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to be able to stop people from being racist. We're not going to be able to stop people from. We're not going to be able to stop people from being unjustly killed. It sucks. That's the reality that we live in. That's the way that America was founded. So it's just, and that's a very condescending tone. But I'm also a real. I'm not sitting here. I'm. Can I elaborate? I'm not trying to be condescending, but that's just the facts. I'm a realist before anything else.
I have to agree with it. People are going to. People are going to think about other situations besides just this being an awareness for Breonna Taylor. You also have to think about the repercussions of it too.
And that's just my thing. I just don't want this. Like I said, I would love, and let me say this: I would love for this movement to work. I would love for it to work in a way that there's a positive impact and positive change for it. I just personally see it being more self-detrimental to my other surrounding black community who would potentially benefit from the profits from celebrating the Derby and just having something positive to look forward to for once versus contest. Because 2020 has sucked. So, absolutely. We need something to come together and be happy about for once, and just this constant. And I get it, right? Like I said, it sucks that there's no justice, but being constantly angry and constantly upset and constantly trying to be detrimental is not a way to affect positive change or to embark positive change.
I can attack you from multiple ways with this. Who is the?
Sorry, you just threw me for a loop. Go ahead.
Who is the majority of the Derby goers?
Exactly. So there's people that don't even care about Breonna Taylor anyway.
Well, here,
listen.
Then what do you mean by that question?
Listen, I'm gonna get into this real quick. Like, you have came off in the sense of have just lost all hope and whatever. Like, yes, change.
I haven't lost all hope.
But you just thought, this is just the way it's going to be, and that this is the facts. This is not the facts.
I don't think
it's not the way that it has to be, but it is the reality that we are in right now, being black in America. That is our reality.
We thought that as slaves, and we also thought that as we've been progressing forward and so on. We might not be allowed to see this change, but it'll definitely change.
I would like to hear your point.
Yes, this has been a long time of us just being angry and just fed up and just, since everything, whatever. And so, but the same thing happened during the Civil Rights Movement.
Right.
They were going through a long period of time of boycotts, sit-ins. Yes, years. There were riots that lasted, a whole month. Things happen. So I don't think that we should underestimate the fire, the strength, the resilience of the black community. I think that we can go longer. And yes, there are times where you do need to, have something for your mental that is more uplifting. But we can find that within ourselves. We don't need Derby for that. We can find something. I think that we shouldn't lose hope. I think that we should try it. Why not? I don't think, in all, we don't have anything to lose from it. Because at the end of the day, we've already lost most of them. Most of what we had. We're losing our black brothers and sisters. Right. So why not go ahead and try something else and see if it'll work?
Keep putting plans in motion and keep trying until something does work. Not just, let's look at it like this and that. I don't feel like it's not mandatory that we need to have the Derby.
Here's one thing that I've also kind of noticed just in the polar differences between now and say the 60s, for example. The 60s, they had a clear-cut leader in a Martin Luther King, or there was also your Malcolm X side. Right. This movement that we have now, there is no, and this is my own personal perspective, I don't see a clear-cut leader. I don't see someone who's one individual who can say, okay, I've got enough power, I've got enough support, I got enough people behind me where I can go talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying? So what I think the movement needs, if we really want to establish change, is a true leader who can be.
Why do we need it?
Because clearly the people can't do it without it. Because
why? Because back then people's minds wasn't expanded to the way they were. This guy, was very precise, like Joe said a podcast ago, in his plans, and he had a legitimate strategic plan, and everyone wasn't thinking for themselves. He was just the first person to, all right, I got enough clout, so let's do this or whatever. There's multiple ways to skin a cat. There's no correct way to do it. And also, we have came a long way with our education system and everything else that has to do with us expanding our mind on how to try to find some kind of answers. Also, society was a lot simpler back in the day and stuff with the way we run our government now and all the other politics and stuff that have to involve.
I wouldn't say it was a lot simpler. I wouldn't say that. I mean, I would say it's even. Sorry, go ahead.
I think that this idea of a leader is played out, and it's we can just throw it away, because honestly, the only reason why we think that we need a leader is because it's done before. We haven't even tried something else. This is new. That we haven't even trying to do it without, like, you can call it a vanguard, somebody who's, ahead and telling you what to do and stuff like that. We don't need it. What we do need is unity, and we need a cohesive idea of where we're going to go and what's the right direction.
Yeah, I agree.
But we don't need a leader. It's not going to happen. We don't need anybody else to worship or idolize or.
And I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that those qualities that you just brought, like unity and having a cohesive idea, that is something that a leader would bring to the table. I mean, every team has a coach. Our government has a president. You know what I'm saying? So these are things, history tends to, repeat itself. So if that is something if having a leader, a distinct leader who will say, okay, this is what we're doing, can rally everyone together to make positive impact and positive change. If that worked in the past, why would we stare away from that again? Obviously it didn't work to an extent where we're still struggling to this day. But I'm saying if that idea has worked previously, this is the whole issue now, because no one can seem to agree on everything. You know what I'm saying? So if we had that leader,
it's naturally going to happen. Not everybody agreed.
I know, and that's the whole idea.
Not everybody agreed with Malcolm.
I know that, but again, I'm saying you still have a better. I personally think, and we can agree to disagree, and we can leave it there. I just personally think that. Just like how anything in the world, if you look at any kind of organization, any team, there is always some form of leader. Even religion, Jesus was the leader of Christianity. If you want to take it all the way to that, everyone needs someone. I'm not saying that you have to idolize them or they have to be a god or anything, but we need someone who can rally the troops and make decisions for the unit. Because if you're at an office and all you hear is a bunch of people yelling 20, 30, 40 different things, then who's really listening? Yeah. Nobody's listening, is my point.
I just think that's the blueprint that's been laid out. So it keeps being copied off of, and people keep doing it. But I think that if you try something new, it may work. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about having a leader, too, is that you have to actually, like, if we were to go the route of having a leader, you have to think of someone who has the right mindset as well. Because there are so many people out there that can have that, everything's getting all into them. So then their whole head and their ego will get to them.
Yeah, and we live in a social media area. So a lot of people, unfortunately, who are even supporting the movement now, they're just doing it for likes.
Exactly.
And that's my personal opinion. I'm not saying that they're wrong or right. Well, they're wrong, I think. But a lot of people, I feel like, aren't even really truly, like, if they couldn't post it on Instagram or Facebook, would they really even be there? You know what I'm saying? They're looking for the clicks. They're looking for the Facebook Live views. They're looking to feel important because, I made a difference. But really, you don't really care at all. You just want to feel important.